পৃথিবীর বিভিন্ন দেশে যখনই কোনো দুর্যোগ হয় সেখানেই ডাক পড়ে, সেটা হোক লিবিয়া কিংবা জাম্বিয়া, কসোভো কিংবা পূর্ব তিমুর। খেলা পাগল এবং আমুদে জাতিসংঘের এই কর্মকর্তা রিচার্ড রিগেন বাংলাদেশের বিশ্ব খাদ্য কর্মসূচির প্রধান।
Hey Richard, hey, good morning, I'm fine.
Good to see you.
Welcome in iStyle. And how was the surfing?
Thanks for having me, it was awesome. Good
Awesome?
session, yeah.
Would you like to give anything to me?
Yeah, here, I'll let you carry that paddle for me.
Great. So, I am happy. First time you're talking to Bangladeshi media and it's in iStyle.
Yeah, I'm proud to be here.
Great.
It couldn't be a more beautiful place too. I'm here in Cox's Bazar on the longest beach in the world. Good waves, warm water, like surfing with 20 or 30 of my Bangladeshi buddies who are down here and who are like excellent quality surfers.
So you should be very happy with the water here in Cox's.
Yeah, no, it's beautiful, it's warm. It's some of the best water you can get into for surfers.
So you're telling, you're helping some youngster here in Cox's Bazar to learn them how to surf? How they're doing?
Well, I don't know that I'm teaching them very much. I arrived here and there were, there's a 40 or 50 person contingent of Bangladeshi surfers who are professional quality. You have the Olympics coming up, first time surfing in 2020 for the Summer Games. And I don't think Bangladesh has ever had a summer Olympic athlete. So, it's an opportunity to field Bangladesh's first summer Olympic team if they can get some of the surfers here qualified.
Bangladesh is one of the victim countries regarding the climate change and the others. You are surfing here. We know how WP is addressing this issue on the climate change.
Just in general, I think that how we as humans interact with our environment is probably the single most important thing that we're going to do for the rest of human history. Bangladesh is going to particularly be impacted because there are parts of Bangladesh that are even below sea level. So once you see the seas rising, it's gonna have a tremendous impact. But I think we as humans can do a lot more to just protect how we live. We can try not to use plastics. We can manage our waste better. We can think about using less power. It's hard for me as an American to tell a Bangladeshi to use less power because one of the biggest causes of climate change are the big energy hungry countries, and my country is one of those countries. And I think we have a responsibility to work with the Bangladeshi community to make this space beautiful and turn it into something that's a real tourist opportunity for the country. I come down here a lot because of my work, and I see how many Bangladeshis are coming down here for vacations, and it's an important treasure for the country, and I think we have to do everything we can to protect it. So Imdad, thanks for having me. Let's have some breakfast together.
Sure, my pleasure. Richard, so I see the breakfast, mostly the Bangladeshi food. Do you like the Bangladeshi food?
Yeah, Bangladesh khabar bolabashi.
I don't believe. Ki Bangladeshi khabar apni bhalobasen?
Khichdi.
You like khichdi?
Khichdi.
Since your family had the restaurant business, your uncle, your auntie, they had the burger business.
Right.
So I'm sure you love to cook.
I love to cook. I grew up around restaurants. My family owned restaurants. Grandfather owned supermarkets. When I was, in university, I cooked in restaurants as a side job, and also I mentioned when I was in Aspen, I also cooked in a restaurant out there. So I've always loved food, loved being around food.
Richard, tell us something about your family. You said you have 3 children?
Right. I have 3 children. I have a 16-year-old daughter who, along with my wife, we're the only American family that's ever lived in North Korea. And then I have a set of twins, boy and girl, who are 14 years old. And they've also lived, this is the first country where my family hasn't come with me, and It's just they, were at a funny age education-wise where they didn't want to change schools, and it gets hard. That's probably, I think, maybe the most difficult part of this kind of work is it can be tough on families because you're picking up and you're moving, every 3 or 4 years. So you want to, at a certain point, your children want some stability. So that's kind of the hardest, I think, part of the work, at least for me anyway. Like I can, suffer physically, working long hours, going to difficult places, but the family part of it is probably the most difficult.
Richard, earlier you said you work for the Rohingya camps with the WFP program and the other thing. Would you invite me to join with you?
Yeah, I think you'll see from the scale of it how immense it is. It's 1 million people in a space. It's the size of the city that I live in, Seattle. I think you'll be surprised and overwhelmed by everything that the Bangladeshi government and the UN system and everybody's doing. So please, let's go. So the World Food Program has the responsibility in this Rohingya crisis to provide logistics services. We use this to store as an initial staging area for lots of our food. As you'll see in this warehouse here, we store food which will then go to the camps. So we bring it in on trucks, we drop the food off here, and then the food is taken to any one of the numerous feeding facilities. There's roughly 30 retail stores in the camps, another 15 to 20 general food distribution sites in the camps.
Tell me about the food where you're distributing, how you're distributing, and to whom you're distributing.
Rice, they'll get beans, and they'll get oil. So they get 3 main commodities. And that's through something called the General Food Distribution Program that we have. We also have another program called the E-Voucher Program, and that's an initiative that provides 19 different food items.
Okay.
Those foods are supplied entirely by the commercial sector. Okay, so it's slightly different. By the end of the year, the goal is to have switched everyone completely to that e-voucher system, which is something that we're going to go see in just a bit. We'll have 20 different buildings, and in the buildings are 3 different shops. So we'll have around 60 stores throughout the camps that people can sort of transact like in a commercial environment.
Can you take me to any of the e-voucher shop or any shop?
I'm glad you asked. Let's go.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
In 2004, 2005, Richard was posted as the WFP country representative in North Korea. And I remember I got an email, and all it was a picture. There was no subject line, no text in it, just a picture. I opened the picture, and the first thing I see is a white UN WFP car, and then behind the car, at the end of a tow rope, is Richard, standing on a snowboard, being towed through the streets of North Korea. I don't remember what city. And I am told that even up to today, as any UN official, which are mostly Americans, are posted to North Korea, one of the first questions the officials there ask is, do you know Richard Regan? He snowboarded behind a car here back when he was posted in the early 2000s. And I have been proud to work with him. I've worked with him all over the world. And I intend to do so going into the future. And I think his work makes a real difference.
So then she'll come over here. We make the facility available on site.
Okay.
So if there's a problem with the card, or there's a problem with the value, or she puts her thumbprint down and it doesn't register for some reason, then we sort it out, through our help desk on site.
So with the e-voucher shop, you're doing the huge thing. So
Right.
the banking mechanism.
Right.
So are you controlling it by WFP or any local or international banks is doing something?
Yeah, so this is a WFP system. In the future, we might create something that involves Bangladeshi financial institutions, but we're not there yet. The transaction rates just in this store on a monthly basis are around 350,000 US dollars in transactions per month. So you're looking
in one shop.
in one shop.
Out
So
of 30.
one shop out of 30. So if you multiply that times 30, so you're getting around $3.5 or $4 million, worth of business just in these e-voucher shops. Okay, we're building another 30 of these shops as we convert the population to depending exclusively on these e-voucher shops. So then you're in the neighborhood of, $7 to $8 million a month in transactions for foodstuffs in the camp. So that's a big deal. That's a big opportunity for companies like Direct Fresh, who are the suppliers here. I mean, we're, in the old days, WFP supplied all the food. So the warehouses that you saw are food that we go out on the market and we buy and we bring in, okay? In this model, we're using technology, better data analytics, we understand customer preferences more, the responsibility for quality of food. So if you look at the quality of this food, I mean, these are great lentils, that's their responsibility. So we're not managing the quality. We provide oversight and make sure the quality is good, but the supply chain part of this is managed by the commercial suppliers, but they're also involved in the business side of it. So it's a new model. It's a new model for the World Food Program globally. Bangladesh is sort of in the forefront of this experiment, and I think in the end we'll be able to do our work more smartly. We'll be able to provide dignity to the refugees because, this is a commercial-like experience.
All right, so where do you take me now?
Okay, now let's go to the Camp 4 extension, which is a place where we're trying to extend the camp because it's congested and disaster-prone in some areas. You remember 1 million people came across the border in 2 months, so a lot of housing was built really quickly. So I'm going to take you to a place where our engineers are working to sort of build new space for the refugees.
Okay. So
Okay, let's go.
Okay.
If you look behind you, you see all of this massive engineering work that's been done to stabilize these slopes. So if you can imagine, this whole area was like that initially. This was all just sort of naked hillsides. So we've had to bring in big crews of engineers to do all this work. And if you look around, you see trucks, you see bricks, you see lots of heavy engineering work going on here. And the goal is to decongest the parts of the camp where refugees are sort of most at risk to landslides and to excessive rain. So they're in sort of the higher risk areas. So what we want to do is we want to move them to this part of the camp. So there is an emergency response capability inside of the camps that the Army and the police would lead, and then the UN and agencies would come in and try to support the emergency response work. But the kind of things that we're trying to do here are to mitigate the immediate impact of weather, of damage, of excessive monsoon rains. Luckily, the camps are pretty far to the interior away from the coast. So if we do have a big cyclone that pushes through, like we had Fani come through, and we were really worried that Fani was going to move this way towards the camps.
So where do you take me now?
So now I'm going to take you to a viewpoint area where we can sort of get a sense of the scale of the camp. You can see the border and how congested the camp is, and then that's the last stop on our trip. Okay, let's go.
You know, we came here from the extension area,
Right,
and you
right.
showed a different thing. We are, growing. You say the development.
Yeah.
And as a country, Bangladesh is approaching to the middle income group countries,
Right.
and we have a deadline there. Do you think these issues could be a challenge to achieve that?
But you're right. All these things have an impact on the growth of the country. I mean, one of the things that we really want to concentrate on over, the next several years is investing into the host communities that are around these camps. I mean, Ukiah and Teknaf, which are sort of the main two upazilas, their populations are outnumbered, 3 to 1 to the refugees. I mean, there are about 120,000, persons in each one of those districts. So, it's a challenge, but we have to do a lot more to sort of invest also in the local communities as well.
Richard, you have worked for the many countries. You represented United Nations at the same time your country. So, from your experience, what do you think? How we can address this issue to go to a sustainable in the short time to solve this issue?
Well, I mean, I guess the message that I would have for for governments, for the Myanmar government, for the host government, is that, we need to find a durable solution to this. I think certainly all the donors who've given us resources to support this, but we have to really work hard to find a solution to this crisis, because this is a population that wants to return home.
Richard Regan, thank you so much for giving us the time in
Thank you.
Einstein.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
জাতিসংঘ বিশ্ব খাদ্য কর্মসূচির প্রধান রিচার্ড রিগান যেরকম মনে করেন, বাংলাদেশের এই সমস্যা শুধু একার সমস্যা না, দেশ হিসেবে বাংলাদেশ যে অসামান্য তার কাজ দেখিয়েছে প্রায় 10 লক্ষ মানুষকে আশ্রয় দিয়ে, সেটার একটা দীর্ঘস্থায়ী সমাধান দরকার। সেই সমাধানটা অবশ্যই টেকসই হতে হবে। এই কাজ যেরকম বাংলাদেশকে করতে হবে, আশেপাশের দেশকে করতে হবে, সারা পৃথিবীকে করতে হবে, অন্যান্য যারা এজেন্সিস আছে তাদেরকেও এগিয়ে আসতে হবে এর একটা টেকসই সমস্যা সমাধানের জন্য। আমরাও সেরকম বিশ্বাস করি। পরের পর্বে অন্য কোনো অতিথিকে নিয়ে দেখা হবে। টিল দেন, আই উইশ ইউ আ ভেরি গুড বাই।